It is Mock Draft Mondays. Let's do this. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be doing a full 7-round mock draft for the New York Jets. It is mock draft season after the loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I believe that the season is dead and gone, and there is not really much else that we can look forward to except the draft. So we're going to start doing mock drafts now until the draft every Monday. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the content, and follow along. Today's mock draft is not going to be what I think the New York Jets are going to do, what I think the New York Jets should plan to do, or a specific theme. Today's mock draft is, what would Tigo do? You know, Joe Douglas has been fired. And for some reason, Woody Johnson is a subscriber, likes my content, and I have been given the job as general manager of the New York Jets. And it is my job to do the draft for the New York Jets, and this is going to be what I would do, how I would approach this offseason, specifically through the draft, in building this team and getting it ready for the Super Bowl push that we all deserve. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into it. So we're going to start this draft and see how things end up, and this, to me, is the worst case scenario for the New York Jets, because the two players that I wanted at 6 are both gone, both picks before the New York Jets. Tight end Brock Bowers and wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., both off of the board at 4 and 5, and it leaves me at number 6 with a player on the board that I don't really want to take at 6. I don't necessarily see the value there, and so we're going to go to my third option, which is trading back. Now, there is a limit to how far I want to trade back. I don't want to go so far back that we don't have all of these assets. So I'm going to trade with the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to take their second round pick this year and then try to get a compensatory, let's see if we can get 146, and let's see if that'll work. And it does work. So they're coming up probably to get the tackle that they think that the New York Jets want. I don't want a tackle at all because I would have addressed that in free agency, and I'm not going to do that in the first round. I'm not going to trust a rookie to protect Aaron Rodgers' blind side. So we move on, and boom, they didn't. They came up for Dejon Newton, which is weird, but whatever. We're now at 9, and we get the player that I would have probably ended up taking at 6 if the New York Jets didn't have the opportunity to trade back, but we did. I'm going to take Rome Odunze, the wide receiver out of Washington, at 6'3", 215 pounds. The guy has absolutely dominated this year in football. I'm so excited to see him continue his push beyond, this year. Not just beyond this year, but continue his push this year with, Washington as they compete in the college football championship. Michael Penix has Rome Odunze as his favorite target, and bringing in a big true X to partner with Garrett Wilson is going to open up this offense in such a big way, and I love this pick, getting a true X so that you can really move Garrett Wilson around, kind of treat him as wide receiver 2, put him in the slot, put him in the Y, get him in motion, and still have your red zone target there. Love that pick, love that pickup. Now that we have a second round pick, the New York Jets are back in a position where we can do a lot of really interesting things when it comes to this draft, and there's a lot of players that I would feel really comfortable taking here at 47, but when you're looking at pure value of player, Jordan Morgan, the tackle out of Arizona, is a guy that I don't see how you pass up if he's here available in the second round. Jordan Morgan, 6'6", 320 pounds, is a guy that I think is ultimately going to end up as a bottom of the first type of tackle, someone that, the Philadelphia Eagles might take, or the Kansas City Chiefs might take, or a team picking the Arizona Cardinals, the Baltimore Ravens might take. I don't know if Jordan Morgan is ready to come in and start at a high level, but if you're bringing in a guy with some of the traits that Jordan Morgan has, really good in the pass game, kind of struggles in the run game, he's one of my favorite tackles, a guy that I'm really excited to talk about on the Project Prospect channel with Dom C on our Draft Dodgers podcast, because I love what Jordan Morgan brings. And I love the value of tackle here in the second round, where I think the value really lies for those players. Now we're in round 3, and the player that I've fallen in love with, a guy that I hope that the New York Jets go after, T'Vondre Sweat. The New York Jets need an interior defensive lineman, and T'Vondre Sweat is that guy. I believe he is 6'4", 360 pounds. Yep, and he is just a dominant run-stuffing defensive interior lineman, and he just dominates at the point of attack. And the great part is that he's still really good in the pass rush, can create penetration, and partnering him with an interior defensive line room of what I hope will be Quinnen Williams, Perrion Winfrey, and now T'Vondre Sweat is a really, really good unit, because T'Vondre Sweat and Perrion Winfrey can now start rotating in and out of the middle of the defensive line, and we can start seeing some really, really, really good interior defensive line play from players not named Quinnen Williams. I loved the Quentin Jefferson and Al Woods pickups, but those were for 1 year, and we got to start looking beyond those guys, and this is what that pick is, so I love that pick. Now we're here in round 4, and a player that I would have taken if T'Vondre Sweat wasn't there is available, and that's quarterback Michael Pratt out of Tulane. I love this kid, 6'3", 220 pounds, got really nice arm talent, and just is a really, really interesting prospect. Has been doing really good things for Tulane for the last couple of years, and is coming out, and now you're starting to look beyond Aaron Rodgers and getting a project, and that's exactly what Michael Pratt is. It is a project, and he's your backup quarterback, and he's big, and he's athletic, and he's got the arm, and you can look beyond that, and so I love that pick for the New York Jets. Now we need to start looking at the actual position of need for this team, which is the interior of the offensive line. The New York Jets need a right guard desperately. I don't think that the tackle is really all that big of a need. We have Elijah Vera Tucker. We just drafted Jordan Morgan. I would probably go out and get an offensive tackle in free agency, whether that's bringing back Mekhi Becton or going and getting maybe one of the guys who has a little bit of an injury history and seeing if they can keep it together for the New York Jets, and a Tyron Smith or a David Bakhtiari who's probably going to sneak through. But we do need to address the interior of the offensive line, and Donovan Jackson is a way to do that. Play left guard for Ohio State, would come in and probably compete for the right guard spot, 6'4", 320 pounds. I think you have to get interior offensive lineman help. And hey, who knows if, Carter Warren or Jordan Morgan can come in and win the right tackle job. Well, you know what? That's great. You can put Donovan Jackson as a backup guard, put Elijah Vera Tucker back in at guard, and now you're set and everything is easy breezy, beautiful cover girl there. And so now you keep moving on. Now we go to another pick that I like making for the New York Jets, and that's Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest. Really, really good box safety. You can see it here. He's played a majority of his snaps in the box and as a slot. And I feel like what Malik Mustafa would end up being for the New York Jets at 5'11", 207 pounds is really, really athletic safety corner prospect, that safety nickel prospect that can come in and play, your hybrid safety linebacker role and kind of fill that Ashton Davis role. I think Ashton Davis is going to have to take a step up and start playing the Jordan Whitehead role, because I don't know if we bring back Jordan Whitehead, and I think Ashton Davis has actually played well enough this year to earn a look there, but you're going to have to replace the safeties on the back end. Malik Mustafa is a great way to do that. Really athletic, is a guy that you can bring in, can impact specials, which is what Ashton obviously does, and continuing to build that pipeline. I'd love to see more of Tony Adams as the single high safety, and that's what you get to do with that pick. Now we're getting into some of the players that I'm not super familiar with, but one of the guys that I do like, and one of the guys that I think the New York Jets are probably going to be interested in, is Jalen Harrell out of Michigan. Really, really fast, twitchy pass rusher who struggles in the run game. And can be a third down edge rusher. I don't know if the New York Jets are going to be able to bring back Bryce Hall. If we are, that's awesome, but you got to continue to build that pipeline. We took an interior defensive lineman earlier in the draft in T'Vondre Sweat, so we're going to continue that, addressing the trenches. That's where you win football games. We're going to take Jalen Harrell out of Michigan and continue to build up the trenches, build up that pipeline, and continue that rotation of guys that we love to see there. Now, the New York Jets need to try to find a home for someone in the slot. And while I love Xavier Gipson, I don't totally think that he's 100% ready to just be given that role. So I'm going to take Mario Williams out of USC, 5'9", 175 pounds. Small, shifty guy who can play in the slot for you, play special teams for you, and really this is bringing in a guy to compete with Xavier Gipson. I'm hoping that Xavier Gipson can win the job outright, but this is still depth at a position that we need depth at in wide receiver, and I'm going to get a guy that, can impact the team positively. And now the New York Jets have the last 2 picks of the draft. We're going to just take the best tight end graded. I'm going to take the one out of Minnesota instead of the one out of Utah because I feel like Minnesota has a better track record of producing tight ends. And, he played really well last year. Maybe this year's just a bad year for Minnesota. So we're going to take Brevin Spanford. And with the last pick of the 2023-24 NFL draft, I'm going to take running back Carson Steele out of UCLA. We need to get some help for the running back room, and getting a guy that you have control with over the next couple of years is going to be a really, really easy way to do that. We don't have running backs beyond, Breece Hall. Israel Abanikanda hasn't gotten very many reps, and while I love the kid and still believe in the kid, it's just hasn't shown out there. And I'm not saying that Carson Steele is going to be any different, but, get as much talent as you can on the offensive side of the ball. And this is the New York Jets mock draft from Tigo, starting off with a trade back from 6 to 9, getting a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick from the Saints to do it, going and getting wide receiver Romo Dunes, following that up with tackle Jordan Morgan out of Arizona, interior defensive lineman T'Vondre Sweat out of Texas, Michael Pratt, quarterback out of Tulane, guard Donovan Jackson of Ohio State, safety Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest, edge rusher Jalen Harrell out of Michigan, wide receiver Mario Williams out of USC, tight end Brevin Spanford out of Minnesota, and mystery relevant running back out of UCLA, Carson Steele. Let me know what you guys think about this draft in the comment section below. We're going to be doing a ton more draft content coming in the future and talking about prospects and what I think the New York Jets should do. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. PFF gave me an A for this draft. I want to know what you guys think. Get on out of here. Go Jets.